Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. And if you're brand new to the channel, feel like subscribing, we'd love to have you over here. This is going to be a plugin install tutorial. And what I mean by that, we're going to be installing about maybe 3 or 4 plugins, as well as a couple of callouts. Now, just a bit of advice. Don't get too impatient with this stuff because it's really easy to, install things incorrectly. But once you get the hang of it, it'll all make perfect sense, I promise. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a lot of these authors that make these plugins that are going to be a self-identifying feature of the folder itself first. So in this case, you can see the label there, Start the Ped. So we're not going to install this folder like this because it'll, it just won't work. So when you open this, most authors of these mods will already identify where your game directory is going to be. So when you open this up, you'll notice that it's just some files, and you may go, well, where in the hell do I put those? It's exactly what you think it is. Some people make this too complicated. They try to overthink things. So you have a plugins folder there. You have a plugins folder there. So don't get in the habit of dragging this like that. Don't do that. It's the easiest way to mess up, because what if you accidentally go down here or up here? So don't get in the habit of that. So I don't want to confuse you, but like I said, the RageNativeUi is probably going to be out of date by the time you watch this video, maybe 6 months from now, a year from now. So it's not going to work for you. Your Start the Ped is going to crash because it's not up to date with the newest game version for RageNativeUi. It's needed. It's a necessity to get this mod to work. So the easiest thing to do is take the plugins folder, and remember, this is what I have right now, is this LSPDFR. So I'm going to back this up. So take this plugins folder and get in the habit of pulling it down here and let it merge properly with the Windows merging system. Just let it do its thing. So just drop it. And then it created another subfolder in here. If you take a look now, you'll see there's another folder in here. It's not here. It's inside here. And it's called a plugin that is reliant upon LSPDFR running in order for Start the Ped to run. So LSPDFR is technically sort of like a standalone plugin for Rage plugin hook, and I'll explain what that means in just a moment. So right now we have Start the Ped inside here. You see all that? Now I didn't install Vocal Dispatch, and it didn't install Police Smart Radio. So don't get confused by all that. It's not going to have Grammar Police. It's not going to have voice mod or anything like that. So don't let that worry you. And also Police Smart Radio, it was more kind of tied into Alvo 1125's mods in the past. Those are years and years ago. So don't let that worry you. I don't know why it even has those in here, to be honest with you. I really don't. So we're going to come back and modify this file in just a minute, okay? So I think what we probably need to do next is let's get the RageNativeUi where it needs to go in the right spot. So let's back up. Just back up again. See, we're right here. Back up again. Get to where your main game directory is now. Now see that RageNativeUi? I don't trust it. I still don't trust it, even though I think it's probably okay. But like I said, I just don't trust it. I just don't trust it, guys. So we're going to go to RageNativeUi. It's the new one. To install the RageNativeUi is pretty simple. Just grab these 2 files right here and pull it right into your main game directory where GT5 is located at. So let's go ahead and modify Start the Ped, and then we'll install these other ones. So there's only a few things that I want to tell you to change. This folder right here, okay? It is in lower capital letters. They did that for a reason. So if you click on here, okay, let's go inside keys. It's an INI file. If you don't see INI right through the .ini, don't worry about that. It's in your view settings. So if you go to view, this is for Windows 11, by the way. You should see it for Windows 10 as well. Go to show. First of all, make sure hidden items is checked. You should always have that checked just in case there's some weird file that's being hidden. But this one right here is file name extensions. So if you have that clicked or checked off, I should say, it'll look like keys. So that's why most of us see the INI, is because we have our view settings set for show and file name extensions. So let's go ahead and double click this. It should open in Notepad. If it doesn't, then just right click and go to open with Notepad. But I like to double click. We're going to enlarge this so we can see better, okay? There's a couple of spots that you need to change for Start the Ped, okay? And so it doesn't conflict with the LSPDFR menus. Traffic interact right here. So you'll see it. Just keep going down. It's really hard to see, but right here, see all that? So traffic stop interact key, that's when you go up to the side door of the person you pulled over. If you try to interact with the E key, LSPDFR menu is also going to pop up right along with stop the ped. So this is what you do, is traffic stop interact. For the keyboard, don't have it as E, have it as none. You don't need it because you'll be using stop the ped. If you use a controller, which some of you will, you got to change this one too. So traffic stop interact controller key, see the D-pad right? That is also none. Now I'm not going to modify anything else because I don't want to make this video too complicated. But those are the two main keys that you need to change. And then be really aware of this key right here. It is backup key right here. See the backup menu key is set to B key. That is going to conflict with ultimate backup. And that's perfectly fine because we're going to change the ultimate backup key in a minute. So don't let that worry you. You can leave that as B. Sometimes it's a good idea to have easy access to LSPDFR backup. And there's two totally different things in ultimate backup. You would think they're the same, but they're different. So you can leave that as B, that's fine. And so I'm gonna go ahead and save. We're gonna back the folder up until we get to the main game directory. And now we're done with installing stop the ped, but we need to kind of modify it a little bit more. So let's go ahead and modify stop the ped, why not? Go to plugins. Let's go to LSPDFR folder in upper capital letters. And let's dive into the stop the ped INI. Let's go ahead and dive in here. And we're going to enlarge this. There's only a couple things that I'll tell you to change. And some things that you may not need to change at all. So I already did a tutorial on this. I'm not going to go through all over again. There's no way, because it was an hour long. There's no way. So, and also I gave you 12 secrets of stop the ped, some cool features that are built into it that most people don't even know about. And it's all, the secrets are all inside here. You just got to look. Too much information. Another question that most people are going to have with stop the ped is how to keep the game from freezing on them whenever they're searching somebody. So what it does is a big pop-up message. It freezes the game and it has search results over the entire screen. Maybe change that to no. Yeah, maybe just make it no. That'll help a lot of people out, I think. If you want to leave it as yes, hey, it's your game. Play it how you want. If you make any changes, come back and save it. Okay, now stop the ped has been installed. Now this is your perfect opportunity, and please take my advice on this. Like I said, I've got many years, almost a full decade worth of playing with this mod. You don't want to install too many mods at one time. I used to tell people to install, all these mods, and then, and then have to worry about their game crashing later and all that. And then also, not to mention, be overlapping menus. Maybe you made a mistake, but now you've installed 5 more mods on top of that. No matter how many times I say this, you're still going to do it probably. There's some tons of people that are not going to listen to me. That's fine. Just do it on your own then. But right now is a perfect opportunity to either watch that tutorial if you want to know what you're doing with stop the ped, or you could, just launch the game with stop the ped installed now by itself. Unless you installed other things, but you're taking a risk. That things may not be compatible 100%, or they may conflict a little bit. But now you have stop the ped installed. So if you want to, jump on the game with LSPDFR, if you just have that installed, it's a perfect opportunity right there is to get to know stop the ped a little bit, the menu functions, all that stuff. If you want to watch that 1 hour long video, it's very painstaking. I get it, but it's all timestamped, by the way. So if you want to go back and learn how to do certain things within stop the ped, how to do narcotics field tests, how to do a field sobriety test, they're different. How to get them on their knees instead of their stomach. It's all covered in the video. Just go and follow it along if you want. It's a good opportunity. Then once you get comfortable, then you close all that out, come back to this video here at this section. It's gonna be another timestamp. We're gonna be installing ultimate backup. So let's do it. And make sure that you're at your main game directory where your GT5 is located at. And now we're gonna start ramping this up a little faster. So let's go to ultimate backup. It is another RAR file. I'm gonna click on ultimate backup. And same thing goes with that. Don't install another one. You don't have to install it. You already installed the latest version of RageNativeUi. Make sure you don't accidentally, if you're watching this video a year from now, make sure you don't accidentally, do this and do that. Because remember what I told you about the RageNativeUi? What if it's out of date? Get the latest version. Once you have it installed, you don't have to keep reinstalling it, is what I'm trying to say. So you only need to really install is this folder right here. and just pull it in your main game directory. If you're getting some a thing here where it says the destination has 32 files or 8 files or whatever it was, just say replace. That's fine, perfectly fine. Okay, we just installed it. So now we're done with Ultimate Backup Install. And remember, it went to the plugins folder, right? Go plugins, go to LSPDFR folder in upper capital letters. And now you have the Stop the Ped, and now you have Ultimate Backup. They should be sitting next to each other. Let's go to Ultimate Backup, INI, and we're going to enlarge this. And right at the very top, you're going to see right there how it's going to conflict with LSPDFR. Now, I'm not sure why he made it a B key, to be honest. I really don't understand that. I understand it's backup, B for backup, totally get that. But JoJo knows when people install these mods that the default key for LSPDFR is the B key. He knows that the menus are going to overlap. He already knows that. So, but I think he thinks that that everybody should already know that. And that's not the case, man. You gotta like think outside the box. So why don't we do this? How about we change it to, I don't know, a key that sounds sort of like Ultimate Backup? How about the U key? Yeah, let's do that. U for Ultimate Backup. To me, that makes more sense. U for Ultimate Backup. So, make it the U key. That's just my opinion. And then there's a lot of things that I told you with the Ultimate Backup install tutorial. I've already done this. I just did this tutorial just a few months ago. So just kind of go through that video if you want to get more detail oriented. And then also inside that video, show you how to use it. So think about that as well. So personally, is code 2 siren lights on. You can change it to no, but remember ELS, because the ELS, the way it works, it's going to have lights and sirens. So personally, when I have backup rolling in code 2, all they do is show up on scene with no lights, no sirens, but when they get out of the car, they'll blip their siren for a second, and then their lights will come on, and it looks really cool. That's what I think. It's better than having them show up, with lights and sirens. Can't stand that. So if you have ELS cars, think about changing that to no for code 2. Okay, not code 3, but code 2. And we're going to click on save. Remember, we changed a couple of things there, mainly this one. The U key now will be your Ultimate Backup menu. So we're done with that. I'm going to tell you again, you've got Ultimate Backup installed now. So take that opportunity and launch the game with Ultimate Backup installed. Make sure you start it up, make sure LSPDFR is loading in, and then once you go on duty, Ultimate Backup should be working. If you change your menu key, it is no longer the default key for LSPDFR backup. So you have your own menu functions. And if you get confused, watch that Ultimate Backup install video that I did about, I don't know how many months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. It's not very long. It'll kind of guide you through it if you want to take a look and how to do the menus. Pretty cool. I love that little mod, Ultimate Backup. So now let's go to Compulite. Now Compulite is the same way. This is installed just like Stop the Ped, just like Ultimate Backup, because it is a plugin that is reliant upon LSPDFR to be running and with you on duty in order for those to work. But there's a reason why I'm telling you all that, because in a minute we're going to install a plugin that you don't have to even be on duty, and there's a big difference. So let's go to Compulite, and same thing. Don't do that one. Like I said before, the other ones don't do that. Take the plugins folder, pull it into here, and that one's an easy install. So let's take a look here. There's at least one thing you want to change for sure. Go to plugins, LSPDFR folder, and then go to Compulite right here. It is a config file. A lot of people are gonna watch this and they're gonna ask that question right off the bat. Here's your tablet key, guys. Left control key, number pad 0 is on foot. That's on foot. Left control, numpad 0 at the same time. If you're in a car, you're going to hard press the E key. In other words, you're going to hold down the E key for about 1.5 seconds and it'll pop up in the car. You don't just press E, it won't work. You have to hard press it, meaning it takes 1.5 seconds to pull up the menu. Now, if it pauses the screen, which I cannot stand, by the way, it is right here under the parameters right here. You'll see right here, it says is paused when open. It's defaulted yes. I don't like to have my game pause whenever I'm looking somebody up, things like that. I like to hear things going on around me inside the game. So I don't like to hear it paused, and I don't like to see it freeze on the screen. So I'm going to say no. So you may want to think about doing the same thing. But if you like it paused, just leave it default and then save it. You already know what's coming next. You got Compulite installed. You have Stop the Ped, Ultimate Backup. You have Fired Up, see if it runs. Come back, this video right here. We're gonna be installing some cool callouts, and I would highly encourage you not to install these at one time. Don't do that. Now I'm gonna do it, not because I know what I'm doing, it's because I'm doing a tutorial. So, but take it from me, if you're installing a bunch of callouts like this, don't install these at one time. It's too many callouts. Too many callouts. I mean, one of them has almost 40 callouts, something like that. You combine all these together, probably over 100 callouts. Easy. You don't need that many. If you want to start with one, maybe you do Kuchera callouts. It has almost 40 calls, 820 plus spawn locations across the map. Really cool one. Maybe start with that one. See if you like it. Play around with it a little bit. And then if you get unhappy, maybe install maybe one more. Maybe this one. You know, simple callouts. We'll do that. We'll do it in a row like that. Maybe do Kuchera callouts and then maybe add one more. But don't do more than that. I mean, if you really feel lucky, then go ahead and do 3. Right there is probably over 80 some calls. But if you're really lucky, if you're really feeling lucky, do all that and watch your game crash. I'm joking, but there's a good chance that it will. And it's not because they conflict. It's not because of that, guys. It's not because of that. It's not because you have a bad PC either. It has nothing to do with that. It's just some of these callouts, you know, the calls themselves get a little outdated, and they conflict a little bit with the new, you know, the latest version of GTA 5 and LSPDFR versions and all this other stuff. And even though they're old callouts, most of them still work fine. They work perfect. But there's occasionally one call that's undoubtedly going to crash your game, or at least crash LSPDFR anyway. It still happens to me. Yeah, even during live streams. Gotta love it. All right, let's do Kuchera callouts. So once again, these authors of the mods are telling you how to do it right off the bat. It is a zip file, so you should be able to open this real easy. And notice that he's already gave the label, what it is about. So it is Kuchera callouts. And open that up. And now you'll notice that he has 2 folders, and he has a RageNativeUi. Now, Kuchera callouts, I don't think it's been updated in a while. So you're taking a risk at installing that RageNativeUi. It's just like Stop the Ped, Ultimate Backup, Compulite. You know, are you going to trust it? Personally, I don't trust any modders RageNativeUi anymore. I mean, I don't want to call anybody out. There's some really good modders out there that have sworn they're going to keep their stuff up to date, but it's not their fault. They have a life, you know. So don't trust it. Maybe yeah, if you already installed the latest version, just don't install this one. Just forget about it. Just leave it alone. And we're going to install this folder here and this folder here. So here's LSPDFR folder, lower capital letters, plugins folder, and just drag it right in here, main game directory, where your GT5 is located at. Just let it fall. And that's all there is to it. And you're done with that. And if you already installed the latest version, that sounded bad. Sorry. Hey, settle down. The latest version of RageNativeUi, then don't install this one. Now let's take a look at this callout. Now I probably won't do this for every single callout pack we do today, because they're all going to be pretty much identical. So let's dive into here and see what the callout packs are like. Let's go to LSPDFR, I'm sorry, the plugins folder right here, and then go to LSPDFR folder, upper capital letters, and you're going to see a little pattern here. There's Compulite right here, and here's Stop the Ped, Ultimate Backup, and here's your callouts right next to the other ones. And if you click on Kuchera callouts, now some of these folders or these callouts may have its own folder up here too. It's like a reference folder that the callout needs to have to function correctly. It needs to have that folder most of the time. Not every time, but most of the time. So make sure you just leave that one alone. But this one here just has 2 files. So here's Kuchera callouts. Let's double click. All right, now when we have Kuchera callouts, the config file pulled up here, it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, if true, the callout is enabled. If it's false, the callout is disabled. So you may wonder why you even need to know about all that. Is if for some reason out there, you know, if you have a callout, you know, unknown by the author, or maybe there's a bug, or maybe there's something going on with the call, if it crashes your LSPDFR every single time you get that call. Now, Kuchera callouts has been extremely reliable for me. I don't think I've had one call out by him ever crash my game, but let's go ahead and pretend like, for example, maybe the roadkill maybe is crashing your game. Okay, it never did for me, but maybe it does for you for some reason. There's a glitch in there somewhere. So what I would tell you to do is, for example, roadkill, all you do is make sure that is false. That's just an example, but roadkill will work for you, I'm sure. The author of the plugins has a built-in AOP while you're patrolling. What that means is area of patrol. And it kind of makes sense, right? Because if you're in the city, Los Santos, and maybe you're around Grove Street, you don't want to hear a call come out over dispatch or a really cool call, but it's occurring way north of the map in Paleto. It would take you 10 minutes to drive there, and like in the game. So because it's such a large map, so that's called an AOP. So if you're not in that general vicinity, and I'm not really privy, it doesn't make me smarter, than you, even though I've been doing this for a long, long time. There's certain calls that I don't get either when I make content. If I decide to stay around maybe Rockford Hills, then I'm not going to get 20 or 30 other calls with some of these other call out packs, like SuperCallouts, for example. It has these AOPs built into the call out itself, and it's like that for a reason, because you don't want to hear a Grand Sonora Desert when you're in Los Santos, or maybe a Mount Chiliad emergency, like forestry callouts, right? You don't want to get an emergency like that up there on top of the mountain when you're down south in the city. So I'm sure that makes sense. But that is called an AOP. That's why you're not getting some calls naturally. So there's really not much to tell you on here except for the end key, END. See that word right there? That is the key right next to your delete key. So you have that ability to end the call yourself, which I think is a brilliant idea that a lot of these the authors of these plugins do. I love it. I love being able to end the call myself, because if you handcuff a suspect, like there's some callouts that we'll probably install today, the callout will instantly code 4, meaning it's done, meaning that the officers that backed you up, they will leave the scene. The traffic will start going crazy, smashing into each other. Sometimes the suspect's car will disappear, and sometimes you get weird glitches where the suspect tries to walk off. It's kind of rare, but once it's code forward, the game thinks it's done, and I cannot stand that personally. I like to do it myself, but the only caveat with all that, the only negative side effect is you're going to be just like me, even during a live stream. So embarrassing. You're going to forget to hit that end key, that END, that end key, and then you're going to be patrolling. After you're done, the guy's been transported. You did charges, everything's done. You're driving for 10-15 minutes. No call out is coming over your radio, and you're wondering what is wrong, what's busted. Well, you forgot to hit that end key. So you can see it could be a problem, right? So you have to remember to hit it on some of these calls. So just remember that. So if you make any changes, come up here and press save. I'm only going to warn you one more time, probably, is don't install all these call out at one time, all these calls, because this is over 100 calls easy. Some of you guys out there are using Callout Packs for 3 or 4 years ago, 6 years ago, and you're wondering why your game's crashing. Don't do that. Install Callout Packs that are recently updated within, say, 6 months to a year. Over that, you're kind of risking it. I'm just saying, just be really, really careful. And now let's do simple callouts. Pretty simple to install, actually. We're going to pull this up, and you have simple callouts. And you're going to see an LSPDFR folder and a plugins folder. Drag these right into your main game directory and let it fall. Already have some things already there. You may not even get that, by the way. So let me show you where that ended up. And here's the thing, is some of these callout packs are going to be just like this one. It's kind of rare though these days. So you go to your plugins, your LSPDFR folder, and then right here is simple callouts. So simple callouts not to be confused with super callouts. It is simple for a reason, because there's no INI. There's no way to modify this one. You either get the call or you don't. Now we have super callouts, not to be confused with simple. So when we go to install this one right here, don't let it worry you, because there's some extra files in here make sure you back this up where you're in your main game directory, right where you see your GT5 is located at. Just make sure you're right here, okay? So when you open this up, don't let it panic you a little bit, because it looks a little bit scary, you know, when you open this up and you'll see, you know, all these extra files in here, and you're gonna be like, how do I install those? Remember, the author of these different kinds of callout packs, they already have you right here. So whatever you see when you first open their folder, okay, I cannot stress that enough, because people are overthinking this stuff. They open it up and they go, where do I install all that? It's exactly where you think. There. That's how you install it. So not to confuse you, but you'll see another file right there called Callout Interface API. That is a separate mod altogether, and I had to pick and choose what mods I'm going to install today. You know, I just kind of picked and choose. It wasn't anything like priority. I just kind of grabbed some things, get you going, you know. Callout Interface is freaking awesome. Love that plugin. And I've done, you know, some cool videos on it as well. But I've never done an official install tutorial for that one, but I don't want to get too sidetracked here. But here's the thing, is that it doesn't matter if you install this file or not if you don't have Callout Interface. So if you don't have it, don't let it worry you. You can still install it. Your game's not going to crash or anything, but it only functions better with Callout Interface. In other words, it doesn't mean it makes the callout pack, you know, better in general, but it makes the words appear on the screen to the right for that particular plugin, where it pops out looking like a, you know, MDT, you know, police computer on your screen. That's what Callout Interface is. So it has built-in features to make it, you know, compatible, is what I'm trying to say. So, but we're gonna go ahead and install it anyway. It will not hurt anything. I don't have it installed right now. This is a clean folder. So you can literally take all these files all the way down to RageNativeUi, because I trust Super Pyromaniac that he always updates his stuff. But if you are really leery about that, yeah, it's okay. I just take it off and only install those. But for the sake of today's video, let's go ahead and just highlight all these files. If you accidentally install the README, it's not gonna hurt anything. But yeah, be smart about it. Click on plugins, hold down your shift key, and just click all the way down to there. That's perfectly cool. And then just kind of drag it in. No big deal. And if it's going to ask you to replace RageNativeUi, you can say yes. I mean, I have full confidence. In Super Pyromaniac, because he's always updating his stuff. But if you don't want to do that, don't worry about it. If you know yours is up to date, then you can skip that file. But for now, I'm just going to say replace. All right, let's take a peek and see where it ended up at. We go plugins. See how clean this is right now? There's nothing here yet. Go to LSPDFR. Then you're going to see SuperCallouts DLL and a SuperCallouts INI. And as usual, like we did with these other ones, this INI, it's a config file. I already showed you how to get that INI back on your screen. So if you skip forward in this part of the video, I'm not going to repeat myself. Go back and watch it. Just click right here, SuperCallouts, and let's go ahead and enlarge this. Same thing, pretty much same premise as the Kuchera callouts. There's only one tiny exception at the very bottom. I'll explain. So true and false. Same thing goes with Kuchera callouts. The interact key, the only thing that I would tell you, he did a great callout pack. But remember, but here's the problem with me anyway, at least me on my end, is that my Y key is my horn key on my ELS. So as I approach the call out where it's taking place, if I happen to hit my Y key, it will automatically trigger the conversation. I'm not even out of the car yet. I don't like that. So my advice, you might want to do the interact key. Something that I found to be really, really cool, real easy, is the K key or the L key. Those are two really good keys if you're worried about keybinds. And no, I will not make a video on keybinds, because my keybinds, I can guarantee you don't have them. Because I have a 16 button mouse, a Stream Deck with keybinds, and those other ones. No, I'm not going to do that because it would confuse everybody. So, but this is the default. But you can leave it as default. You'll see what I'm talking about if you get close as you're driving up to the suspect or subject in the middle of the street or whatever's happening. If you hit your Y key, your horn key, you'll get the prompts on the screen like you're talking to somebody. So I don't really like that. So I like to do it when I'm on scene. So I like to change mine to the K key. This is me. You could do the K or L. It's a good one. I'll leave mine as K. Just to kind of tell you the way I do it. To end the call, same way with Kuchera callouts. Remember to end the call, it's the end key. So you got to remember that. If you're overseas, from me, I'm in the United States. It is, I can't remember what y'all are over there for the emergency number. Is it 411? Something like that? But ours is 911. I can type today. But if you're overseas, if you're watching me from the UK, leave a comment for me down below. Just let me know, that you're out there watching from the UK, because I think it's kind of cool that people that are overseas watching me. But not many people do that, but I would love to hear that. Let me know. I really don't know. Maybe you can educate me. Is it 411? I don't know. Or is it 011 or so? I don't know. I don't want to pretend to know. I don't want to sound smart. And then you hit save, for example. Okay. So that's all done. So Yobbin callout. It's a pretty cool callout pack. Although it did crash him the other day. So one of the calls, it was the cell phone one. So hopefully maybe fixed it. I go to Yobbin callouts. And then right here. Now, don't be a smart ass, okay? Contents into GTA folder. Do not do this, okay? Don't be a smart ass. You can do the readme. There's a readme there. That's why you have me, right? Just open the folder. And it's exactly what you think it is. You're already there inside your main game directory. Remember, once again, where your GT5 is located at. And this is the way the authors have it set up. They already have you there. Once you get past here, like he just has his as contents, he's trying to make it easy on you. But just dive in. Then once you get to something like this, it's literally a drag and drop procedure like that. And once again, you'll see callout interface API. If you don't have callout interface installed, you don't have to worry about this one. If you do have it installed, then you need to install this part because it helps you plug in. It doesn't really break it necessarily, but it might. It really do. It really might actually break the plugin, the callout. So if you have callout interface, I would highly suggest that you install the callout interface API. But if you know what I'm even talking about, don't even worry about it. You don't even really need it per se, but it will not hurt you to install it. And I'll show you right now. We're going to take these and pull these right into your main game directory right here. It already has this from the other callout pack that I installed. So you can maybe say skip this file. You don't have to keep replacing it, by the way. I know that's on your mind right now. Is that do I need to replace it again? It does not matter. You've already did the other one. This one here is not going to make a big difference. One callout pack cannot overwrite the other one as being the more important one to need access to the callout interface API. Does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense. But you can say replace. That's fine. I can make a big deal. And let's take a look at Yobbin callouts. Plugins, LSPDFR, and sometimes, actually all these callout packs that I chose today, a little bit unique. Some of them will have an extra folder up here, by the way, so to kind of look out for that. Like for example, 686 callouts is a unique one because when you install that, it'll have a folder up here, and if you dive in there, it'll tell you right off the bat that it's going to be empty until you go on duty. I don't want to confuse you, but there's an extra folder up here. But all these callout packs have nothing except for these other plugins here. But let's do Yobbin. It's going to be right here, here, and here. So the one we want to maybe change a little bit, go to the config file, the ini. And same concept with all these callout packs, at least these. Simple callout pack that we installed earlier. There's no way to do this. So you can change things right here. So for example, if I was smart on the cell phone one, like the stolen cell phone, is giving me a lot of problems the other day. Before making that video, I could have came over here and just did false. That way I didn't have to worry about getting that call. You know what I mean? So that would have probably saved me a little bit of trouble making that content on YouTube. But for now, I would leave everything true. Just check it out, see if he fixed it. He may have fixed it by now. So just leave it as true. It's a cool call, but I just had a little bit of issue. It crashed my game. So you can just leave it as true. Maybe he actually fixed it. There's some really good calls on here. Highly suggest this one. Really good ones. Now the main key is the Y key. That is the main key. the interaction key between you whenever you're talking to somebody. And then also the same way with SuperCallouts, there is a interact key, that K key, like I was talking about earlier with SuperCallouts. That is to progress your speech on the screen, what's written on the screen, to the next screen. So for example, the Y key is just to accept. That's universal with LSPDFR. But when you start speaking to the suspect, or I should say subject, because it could be a 911 caller, right? To get the message to appear on the screen next, you keep pressing Y until you finish reading, and then you press Y again. That's typically how these callouts work. Now to end the call, this is the N key, same as the other ones. Now this one here, you'll see it has a first option and a second option. Very top left of your screen, whenever you're doing the call out, Yobbin did something a little bit unique, where you get an option for, do you want to handle the case a certain way? Like there's a landlord dispute between a tenant and the landlord. When I made that video the other day, I could have said, nah, I'm going to let y'all work it out in the courts, basically. That's really, in real life, that's technically what it should have been. I shouldn't have got involved with that call. A lot of people in the comments were pointing that out, which I agree, actually. But for content, I decided to go ahead and get involved and question people. So you'll have an option between the Z key or the X key. It's only one complaint that I have about that, is that it disappears pretty fast. So you have to look. And it's not every call like that, by the way. It's only a couple of calls where you have to look at the top left. You'll see a Z key, or I'm sorry, the Z option, or the first option. I should say first and second option. It's going to be the Z or the X key. So hopefully I kind of explained that. Probably over-explained it, I'm sure. I just remember it says display help messages. Right now it's defaulted to true. But if you want to change that back to false, you could always do that. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is that Yobbin, he probably gets feedback from the community. Now, personally, I don't like to have the call automatically code 4, meaning that the call's done as soon as you handcuff the suspect. I can't stand that personally. I don't know why people like that, because like I said, everybody leaves, and the scene's done. You can still keep the person there, by force. You have to grab a hold of the ped and then watch everybody smash into stuff. I can't stand that. So he has it set for false. So if you handcuff somebody, the scene's done. So just kind of point that out. Or if you're done with the conversation, and maybe it's something really benign, something basic, like a landlord-tenant dispute. If you're done with the conversation, the call can end. I get that. The call can end. That's actually kind of a good thing. But to have all the other calls do the same thing, it's not a great thing, to be honest. So he put a little note here for you. Keep calls running at the finish until you end them with the end key. So if false, the call ends automatically. So if you want to have that true, I'd probably do that. But remember, you have to hit the end key to end the call officially. So let's kind of point that out. But if you want to leave it as false, just try it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. I just leave it like that, just as default. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. Then you'll come back and probably change it. I really wouldn't worry about the vehicle too much, but if you got an add-on, you could probably change some things there if you know what you're doing. I probably wouldn't mess with that too much. But maybe you got a really cool vehicle in the police 3 slot or something, you could change that, to police 3, something like that. But it's going to be defaulted as police. I don't know if you're going to get any calls up north with Yobbin callouts where the police vehicle that may be on scene. It may be the case. It may be like that actually. If you're up patrolling up north and there's an officer not responding, like a deputy, like in your sheriff's department, right? And you're RPing it out, you may get an officer not responding or something like that. I don't know. Or where another vehicle shows up, something like that. Then it may be a police vehicle. So kind of be aware of that. So, just change it accordingly wherever you're going to patrol, or just leave it alone, for now, and you can come back and change it later. But just make sure it is a valid model. Otherwise it will crash your game. Now right here, the arson call, if you do this callout pack, It's a pretty cool call. Like it. It'll automatically call fire department. Personally, I like to call the fire department myself. But it does sound kind of cool to hear as you're watching a vehicle burn, to hear the fire department coming up behind you. But for realism purposes, if you want to do it yourself, call them yourself. It may be better to change that to false, but totally up to you on that. But for now, it'll be defaulted to true. There is a really cool call out in here I have not done yet on my YouTube channel in a long time, probably over 5 years. It's called bait car. Really cool, really simple. The bait vehicle is none, meaning that it's going to be spawning different kinds of bait cars, which I think is kind of cool personally. But if you really know the default the vehicle name, for example, Zentorno, right? You have to make sure you spell it right. If you spell it wrong and you forget the O, it's going to crash your game. So just be aware of that. So, just leave it back to where it was. I just leave it as none, just for argument's sake. I wouldn't touch it, unless you know what you're doing. And then you come up here and then save it. Now let's install this last plugin here. And the only reason why I'm doing it last is because you need to do one small little thing at the end of the video. So the enhanced weapon control is by Roet. He's a admin on my Discord, and it's a very simple plugin. And I'm well aware of another plugin out there. I think it's called Weapon Control or something like that. That one's a really cool one too, by Vinoxity, I do believe. He's the same one that made Simple HUD and Simple Control. Really cool, like it. But I just kind of like the simplicity of enhanced weapon control. It's nothing against the other one. It's just I just like this one because it's very simple. Plus, it's important Roet. So we'll go ahead and open this up. I think he goes by Silent Dev on the LSPDFR.com site. I don't know why I did that, but whatever. So you got your plugins folder, and you notice you have a plugins folder right over here. And take the plugins folder. Don't get in the habit. Don't do this. Okay, I'm going to tell you, and I hate doing this in this video, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you open your plugins folder, then you come over here and start dragging things over. That's where people make a mistake and they install it incorrectly. And then they come by the Discord because they didn't watch exactly what I'm doing. Get in a habit, and I still do this to this day. Been doing this for a very long time. I do exactly the way I preach it. So take the plugins folder and just pull it down here, let it merge. That's all you do. And now we're going to be inside the plugins folder, and you'll see it right next to LSPDFR. And then if you go to the enhanced weapon control INI, it's very simple. The K key will lock your gun if you want to use it. You don't have to. I don't really use it, to be honest. You may want to, lock your AR so you don't go weapon free, right? But that gives a little sense of realism. As far as on your screen, it'll say above the mini map whether it's locked or not. I already did a video on how it works. So if you want to take a look at that demo and all that stuff, what it looks like in game and why it's considered a lot more realistic than just not having this, because you have full auto for AR-15 and it's not very realistic. So it gives you more control over your fire rate. So take a look at this. It's better to actually see what it looks like or hear it. Pretty cool, right? So that's what that is, enhanced weapon control. I really like it, and I use it in every single video now. So if you made any changes, come up here and save it. Now the reason why I chose to install this one at the very end of the video is because you need to, if you're planning on using it every single time that you play LSPDFR, you need to have RageNativeUi load it for you. But you could do like I do. I don't load any plugins on startup personally, guys, because it allows me to get into the game a little bit easier and no crashes, no nothing. If you do my method, which is don't have RageNativeUi load anything, just load it inside the game yourself. So let's take a Rage plugin hook. It should be on your desktop, as explained on my LSPDFR install tutorial recently. I just did last week. If you don't know how to get there, once again, this is where your main game directory is. This is that one right there. That's what that looks like. You can just right click Windows 10, send to desktop. Windows 11, right here, send to desktop right there. That's where that is. I'm gonna double click RageNativeUi and then hold shift key down for about 3 seconds. So double click, I'm gonna hold shift key down for 3 seconds. And there it goes, the very bottom of the screen. So it's down here. and then your console command is F4. That should be default. If you want to change it, you can, but I would just, I'd probably just leave it the same. Make sure this is set to 60,000 plugins right here. Now, this is me. I like to say, don't load anything on startup, and I like to load everything myself right here inside the game. Just press F4 when you're in the game, and I type in load plugin in space, and then I start typing in these plugins. Enhanced weapon control, I just start typing it in. It'll fill it out for you. That's your tab key to make sure everything's spelled right. You'll see what I'm talking about. Hit enter, and it'll load it for you. Real easy to do. Takes about 3 seconds. Same way with LSPDFR. Notice it's right down here too. Same way with this. So you can type in load plugin and then LSPD, it'll spell it out for you. Press tab, press enter, and it'll load LSPDFR. If you don't want to worry about all that and you just want to have RageNativeUi load it for you and just be under all the stress that it wants to, and then hope your PC can handle all that. Personally, I don't like it, but if you feel really savvy, then click on load all plugins on startup. It will load everything here that you have in there. You don't want to see my other plugins. You remember that's my non-modded folder. Let me show you really fast. Here's my plugins folder, guys. That's my plugins right there. Look at all that. That's just my plugins folder. There's my LSPDFR folder. This is, look at all this. Yeah, tell me that's not going to stress out RageNativeUi. RageNativeUi is going to flip its shit. So that's why I don't like to do that. And yes, I do. I load all those myself because I have patience. What can I say? As you get older, you get patience. You can say load all plugins to start up, or you can do this. Load these plugins to start up. Maybe you just want to have LSPD, first response loaded. And then you can load enhanced weapon control when you get inside the game. Or if you have crouch, or if you have Axon signal body cam. There's a bunch of other ones. There's tons of them. You saw what I just had. Then you can load each one individually. Like for example, there's Spotlight. Spotlight still works. It works really good. But what if I don't want to do a night patrol? If I know I'm going to do a day patrol, no reason to load up Spotlight. So maybe just pick and choose what you want. And then you would need to save and launch. In this case, I'll just do enhanced weapon control and LSPD first response. But I do appreciate you watching anyway. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you in the next patrol. Take care and stay safe.